theists and non-theists. I am the TheAtheistPaladin. I got a response from ChristoferL. Just one thing, it's really thundering and lightning outside, so if you hear noise and you see flashes of light, that's what it is. He responded to my video. Thank you for that. And what I had a feeling he'd do, he pretty much exactly did. When I said "Thou shalt not kill," I knew he'd nitpick that and go, "Well, it really means murder," even though that's what I implied. And he goes in this sort of argument. Well, we really don't know, the women and children, if they really were innocent or not, so it's not really us to judge. But, bullshit. I will say this emphatically. Genocide, under no circumstances. None whatsoever. You cannot do it. Period. It is morally wrong in all situations. All. You cannot kill women and children and animals, so apparently, and without eating them. Just kill them and leave them to rot completely. And then say, well, God really knew, and that's the best he could do. And he sort of laughs at the proposition that I could do better. Here's a scenario that is completely without death, destruction. It also displays at least some love and compassion and the power of God. And yet he chose to send people out to do his dirty work. Sounds a rather human explanation to me, that there's just made up shit. Oh, I'm having a vision. Oh, God said, kill our enemies. Of course. That seems a rather human and bloody explanation to me. Instead of, God could have done this scenario. He could have simply whisked them away to an island to where they can sustain themselves, and they'd be far away from Israel. Displays power, displays mercy. They didn't have to die, and Israel didn't have to kill anyone. And then there comes the little part of the argument that it would be a great argument if we came around one day and the Bible said God whisked these wicked people away so that in the future they would be redeemed. That seems kind of messianic. And we look at archaeology, and hey, they disappeared. And all of a sudden we look archaeology in another place in the world, and wait a minute, this exact same culture appeared about in the same level that the other one disappeared. What kind of strength of an argument would that be for winning people to Christ? That would be absolutely phenomenal. So not only that you eliminate death and killing, you completely win over an argument that would also win souls. So instead of losing souls, because God is a completely homicidal, genocidal bastard, now we can see that, God can use his powers and use it to protect his powers and later redeem people. See, I am better than your God. Completely within his powers because, well, he's God. He's all-powerful by definition. See, that's why I'm not impressed. It didn't take me no more than 30 seconds to think of a way to both keep his promise to preserve the Israelites and get rid of the people that threatened them. And then no killing. Gee, and you want to laugh at me. That was easy. You want to give me something a little bit harder? And then really, Christopher really proves my point that there is a contradiction. In the beginning of the video, he says that maybe that we should, go around and killing people for adultery and stuff like that. But later on, he really goes into this, Jesus wishy-washy. Well, that's not what Jesus really did, and he uses a scripture that he himself admits that could possibly not be really actual scripture to justify this. And this says, then we should use the example of Jesus and the disciples. And well, of the disciples, we don't have anything other than church history, and of Jesus, we really don't have anything of Scripture. So, at least from a secular point, we have nothing but church doctrine. Just taking it on Scriptures, Jesus never really indicated that, besides what he quotes, that Jesus didn't really support the Old Testament laws. I mean, for crying out loud, Jesus had people commanding them to pluck out their eyes or chop off their hands if they even thought about the wrong thing. And you want to say, well, Jesus didn't really support killing. Well, you're not really doing anything good. And if he did, so what? Even if we just assume that argument, that point for the sake of argument, it really doesn't prove anything. Because there are plenty of Christians that have dealt with this sort of problem from the very beginning. If you look at the Macaronianites, and it was an early Gnostic sect, and they looked at the God of the Old Testament and then looked at the God of the New Testament, and they said, hey, the same thing like I'm saying. These are not the same thing. They said, well, we got a masochistic God over here, and we got a God that wants to love us and free us. And they pretty much said they were two different gods. The God of the Old Testament and the God that Jesus pointed to were two different things. So they were duotheists. So you really don't want to go around this road, because there's nothing there to support this. You pretty much have to admit the God of the Bible was an evil bastard. And that's why I don't accept that I have to get my moral from him. Anything I can just make up out of my head is far better than anything that can come from the Bible. So that's my reply. So have fun with it. Say what you want. Peace.